Commander Thrace stood on the bridge of his warship, the Crimson Talon. His 4 eyes scanned the holographic display showing the small human colony below. The planet looked peaceful. Green forests covered most of the surface. Small cities dotted the landscape like toys. Such a weak species, Thrace muttered to his second officer, Krell. Look at them. Only 50,000 colonists. No orbital defenses. Just a few patrol ships. Krell nodded, his scales gleaming under the bridge lights. The Galactic Council said humans are primitive. They only reached space 70 years ago. This will be an easy conquest. The Vraxian Empire had conquered 42 worlds in the last decade. Humans would be number 43. Thrace felt confident. His fleet had 200 ships. Each one carried enough firepower to destroy a moon. The humans had nothing that could stop them. Suddenly, the communication console beeped. A priority signal came through. The symbol on the screen made Thrace pause. It was from the Keeper Archive, an ancient intelligence network that had existed for thousands of years. They rarely contacted anyone. Put it through, Thrace ordered. The main screen flickered. An old being appeared in the static-filled image. Its face was hidden in shadow, but its voice was clear. Ancient, tired, full of warning. Commander Thrace of the Vraxian Empire, the voice began. I am Keeper Solon. I bring you a message you must hear. Thrace crossed his arms. Make it quick, Keeper. We have a conquest to complete. That is why I am calling, Solon replied. Do not attack the humans. Do not make them your enemy. Laughter erupted on the bridge. Krell shook his head. Even Thrace smiled. You are warning us about humans? The weakest species in this sector. They are not weak, Solon's voice grew heavy. They are dangerous in ways you cannot imagine. We have records. Ancient records. There was another species like yours once. They also attacked humans. They no longer exist. Thrace's smile faded slightly. Explain. Humans do not fight like other species, Solon continued. When you attack most species they calculate odds. They weigh costs. They surrender when defeat is certain. Humans do not do this. When you hurt their people they become something else. They become hunters. Relentless. Unstoppable. The bridge fell silent. Officers exchanged uncomfortable glances. But Thrace shook his head. Old stories mean nothing. We have analyzed human military strength. They have 60 ships. We have 200. Their weapons are primitive. Their armor is basic metal alloys. Numbers do not matter, Solon insisted. Listen carefully, Commander. If you attack humans they will not let you flee. They will not accept your surrender. They will hunt you across every star system. They will find every last one of your ships. Every last one of your soldiers. And they will not stop until justice is served. Thrace felt anger rising in his chest. The Vraxian Empire does not take orders from ancient keepers hiding in the dark. We are warriors. We have conquered dozens of worlds. Humans will fall like all the others. Then you are already dead, Solon said quietly. You just do not know it yet. The transmission ended. Static filled the screen. The bridge remained quiet for several moments. Finally, Krell spoke. Sir, should we reconsider? No, Thrace said firmly. The keepers have grown weak with age. They see threats that do not exist. Look at the data. He pulled up the intelligence reports on the main screen. Human ships use chemical rockets. Their weapons fire metal projectiles. Half their colonies have no military presence at all. He pointed at the planet below. This colony has 50,000 civilians. 6 patrol ships. A few ground defense systems. We will capture it in hours. Then we broadcast surrender demands to all human worlds. When they see how easily we won, they will give up without a fight. The officers nodded. It made sense. It was logical. It was how every other conquest had worked. Begin the attack, Thrace ordered. Show these humans the power of the Vraxian Empire. The fleet moved forward. 200 warships descended toward the peaceful colony. Thrace watched on his screen, confident in his victory. He had no way of knowing that in 18 months, he would be the last surviving commander of his fleet. He would be hiding in an abandoned system at the galaxy's edge, desperately running from human hunter ships that had tracked him across 300 star systems. The warning had been ignored. Now the lesson would begin. And the galaxy would never forget what happens when you make humans your enemy. Captain Marcus Chen was drinking coffee when the alarms screamed through New Haven Colony. He dropped his mug and ran to the command center. His staff was already at their stations, faces pale as they stared at sensor displays. Report, Marcus demanded. Lieutenant Sarah Kim looked up from her console. Her voice was steady despite the fear in her eyes. Sir, we have multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace. At least 100 ships. Maybe more. They're alien vessels. Military configuration. Marcus moved to the main tactical screen. Red dots appeared like blood drops in space. 1, 5, 20, 50. The numbers kept climbing until 200 hostile ships surrounded the system. Have they responded to our hails? Marcus asked. Negative, sir. They're just watching us. Marcus had been a soldier for 20 years before retiring to become colony administrator. He knew what a fleet that size meant. Sound colony-wide alert. Get everyone to the emergency shelters. Send a distress signal to Earth Defense Command. Tell them we're under attack. Sarah worked quickly. Message sent, sir. But it will take 4 days to reach the nearest human fleet. Then we hold for 4 days, Marcus said simply. The colony had 50,000 people. Farmers, teachers, doctors, families. They had never expected war. The underground shelters had been built as a precaution, something everyone thought was unnecessary. Now Marcus thanked God they existed. All civilians evacuate to shelters immediately, he broadcast across the colony network. This is not a drill. All military personnel and volunteers report to defensive positions. New Haven wasn't a military colony. But like all human settlements, it had basic defenses. Orbital missile platforms. Ground-based laser batteries. 6 patrol ships. Marcus knew it wasn't enough. But he also knew they would try anyway. The alien attack began 2 hours later. Enemy ships opened fire from long range. Bright energy beams cut through space like deadly lightning. The orbital platforms fired back, launching missiles toward the alien fleet. Most missiles were destroyed by alien point defense systems. But 3 got through. Marcus watched 2 alien ships explode in brilliant fireballs. It wasn't much. But it was something. Sir, they're launching fighters, Sarah reported. Hundreds of them. The alien fighter craft swarmed toward the colony like angry hornets. Marcus's 6 patrol ships moved to intercept. The battle was brief and violent. 2 patrol ships were destroyed in the first minutes. But the remaining 4 kept fighting. Why aren't they retreating? One officer asked. They're outnumbered 20 to 1. Because they're human, Marcus said quietly. We don't run when our people are in danger. The human pilots used tactics the aliens didn't expect. They hid behind asteroids and struck without warning. They used the planet's gravity to slingshot around and attack from unexpected angles. When their weapons ran out, they rammed enemy fighters rather than retreat. The ground assault began at noon. Alien dropships landed near every settlement. Marcus could hear explosions through the command center's reinforced walls. Reports came flooding in from across the colony. Settlement 3 reports alien troops on the ground, Sarah called out. They're requesting support. Settlement 7 is under heavy fire. They're holding but need ammunition. Settlement 5 reports. Sir, they report success. They've driven off the alien forces. Marcus looked up in surprise. How? The entire town fought together, sir. Farmers used their heavy equipment as weapons. Mining explosives from the quarry. Even the teenagers were helping carry ammunition. Similar reports came from other settlements. The aliens were winning. They had more soldiers and better weapons. But the humans were making them pay for every meter of ground. Every building had to be taken by force. Every street was defended to the last person. By evening, Marcus knew the colony was lost. The aliens had too many ships and too many soldiers. But the humans had hurt them badly. The alien commander must have expected an easy victory. Instead, he got a bloodbath. The command center shook as explosions came closer. Sir, alien soldiers have breached the outer perimeter, Sarah reported. Marcus looked around at his remaining staff. 12 people who could have surrendered hours ago. It's been an honor serving with you all, he told them. The blast doors exploded inward. Alien soldiers poured through, their weapons raised. Marcus reached for his sidearm. A stun blast hit him before he could draw. The world went dark. When Marcus woke, he was in a cell. Other prisoners sat nearby. Dr. Lisa Martinez. Sergeant Tom Rodriguez. Lieutenant Sarah Kim. How long was I out? Marcus asked. 6 hours, Lisa replied. They've taken about 50 of us for questioning. The cell door opened. An alien officer entered, studying them with obvious curiosity. I am Commander Krell, he said in accented English. You fought well for primitives. But why? The battle was hopeless. Marcus stood slowly. You attacked our home. You hurt our people. Krell looked confused. All species defend their territory. But you fought past the point of reason. Your casualties were enormous. You don't understand, Marcus said. This isn't about territory. These are our families. Our friends. Our neighbors. He looked Krell directly in the eyes. When you attack humans, you're not just fighting soldiers. You're fighting everyone who loves the people you're trying to hurt. Sergeant Rodriguez laughed bitterly. You think this was resistance? Wait until the real fleet gets here. Krell's expression showed uncertainty. Your nearest forces are days away. Doesn't matter, Marcus said. Every human in the galaxy just became your enemy. We don't forget. We don't forgive. And we sure as hell don't let people hurt our own and walk away. Commander Krell left without another word. But Marcus could see doubt in his alien features. Outside, alarms began to sound throughout the alien ship. Human warships had arrived at the system's edge. The real fight was about to begin. Admiral Catherine Ross stood on the bridge of the U.S. Vengeful Dawn, watching the smoking ruins of New Haven Colony through the viewport. Her jaw was tight. Her eyes burned with cold fury. The alien fleet had left 6 hours ago, but the damage remained. Fire still burned in the settlements below. Ma'am, we're receiving transmissions from the surface, her communications officer reported. Survivors in the underground shelters. Thousands of them. Catherine closed her eyes briefly. Thank God. Get rescue teams down there immediately. I want medical personnel, supplies, everything they need. Commander James Park approached from the tactical station. His face was grim. Admiral, you need to see this. The colonists recorded everything before their systems went down. Catherine read through the data pad. 50,000 colonists attacked by 200 warships. The humans had destroyed 18 alien vessels and damaged dozens more before being overwhelmed. But the casualty reports made her stomach turn. 3,000 dead, including children. They fought like lions, James said quietly. Old people, teenagers, farmers. Everyone fought. Catherine's hands clenched into fists. And now they expect us to just accept this? They think they can murder our people and sail away like nothing happened? She turned to address her bridge crew. Send a message to all ships. We're not here for just a rescue mission anymore. We're here for justice. The human response fleet was different from anything the galaxy had seen before. Admiral Ross had 73 ships under her command. But they weren't arranged in normal battle formation. Instead, they spread out across multiple star systems in small hunting groups. Ma'am, the alien fleet is moving toward the hyperspace jump point, the sensor operator announced. They're trying to leave the system. Let them go, Catherine ordered, surprising everyone. James stepped closer. Admiral, with respect. We're not fighting a traditional battle, James, Catherine interrupted. This is something else now. Those aliens think they can hit us and run. They're about to learn they're wrong. She activated the fleet-wide communication system. All ships, this is Admiral Ross. The enemy believes they have won here. They believe they can return to their space and continue their lives. We're going to show them otherwise. The human ships moved with purpose. Half the fleet followed the alien ships at a distance, tracking their hyperspace signatures. The other half scattered to different star systems, setting up sensor networks and communication relays. Within 24 hours, a message broadcast across every frequency in the galaxy. It was in every known language. Admiral Ross's voice was calm but carried the weight of absolute determination. These are our dead, she began. Images appeared with her words. Faces of the colonists who had died at New Haven. Children. Parents. Grandparents. Each picture showed a name and a story. Emma Rodriguez, age 9. She wanted to be a doctor. Michael Chin, age 65. He taught history at the colony school. Sarah Thompson, age 32. She was pregnant with her first child. The list continued for hours. Every single person who had died was named and remembered. The message ended with a simple statement that sent chills across the galaxy. We will have justice for each one. There is nowhere you can hide. There is nowhere you can run. We are coming. Commander Thrace received the transmission aboard his flagship as they traveled through hyperspace. His officers gathered around the screen, listening to the human voices reading name after name. It's psychological warfare, Krell suggested. They're trying to make us feel guilty. But Thrace wasn't so sure. There was something in the human admiral's voice he had never heard before. Not anger. Not hatred. Something colder. Something more final. Sir, we're receiving reports from our border systems, the communications officer announced. Human ships have been spotted in 9 different locations. Invasion fleets? Thrace asked. No, sir. Small groups. 3 ships here. 5 ships there. They're not attacking our worlds. They're just watching. Tracking us. The first real strike came 3 days later. A Vraxian supply convoy was intercepted near the Andromeda Nebula. But the humans didn't destroy the convoy. They did something strange. They boarded each ship and checked the crew manifests. Any Vraxian who had participated in the New Haven attack was taken prisoner. The rest were allowed to leave. But not before their ships were marked with special tracking beacons. What are they doing? Krell asked, studying the reports in confusion. Thrace felt cold dread creeping up his spine. They're hunting us. Not our empire. Not our military. The individuals who were at New Haven. More reports flooded in over the following days. Human ships appeared wherever Vraxian vessels traveled. They didn't engage in large battles. Instead, they struck like predators, hitting isolated ships, disappearing before reinforcements arrived. Commander James Park led a squadron of converted civilian ships. Former cargo haulers now carried military-grade sensors and weapons. Passenger liners had been turned into long-range hunter vessels. Target acquired, he reported to Admiral Ross. Vraxian destroyer traveling alone through the Theta system. Remember the rules of engagement, Ross replied. We want prisoners who can tell us where the rest of their fleet is hiding. The Vraxian destroyer never saw the attack coming. Human ships emerged from behind asteroids like ghosts. The alien captain tried to run but was quickly surrounded. Captain David Martinez led the boarding party. He had been a negotiator before the war. Now he used those skills differently. We know you were at New Haven, he told the captured Vraxian captain. We have sensor records of your ship in the battle. Your choice is simple. Tell us where Commander Thrace is hiding, and you'll be treated according to prisoner conventions. Refuse, and we leave you on the nearest airless moon. The Vraxian captain looked confused. But we are at war. There are rules. Those rules apply to civilized warfare, David interrupted coldly. What you did at New Haven was murder. You killed civilians, children, people who never held a weapon. Now you face the consequences. The psychological pressure showed results within weeks. Vraxian crews started deserting at neutral ports. Others mutinied against their officers, demanding to know why they were being hunted across the galaxy. Commander Thrace tried desperately to maintain control. But every day brought new reports of human attacks. His ships couldn't travel in groups without being detected. They couldn't travel alone without being captured. Sir, several governments are requesting we leave their space, the communications officer reported. The humans have convinced them that harboring us is too dangerous. Thrace couldn't believe it. They're afraid of the humans? Yes, sir. Word has spread. No one wants to be targeted for helping us. The galaxy was taking sides. But not the sides Thrace expected. Species that had feared the Vraxian Empire for decades were now more afraid of what humans might do to anyone who helped their enemies. The hunt was entering a new phase. And the Vraxians were beginning to understand what the Keeper had tried to warn them about. When you make an enemy of humanity, there is nowhere in the galaxy you can hide. 6 months had passed since the attack on New Haven. The galaxy had changed in ways no one expected. Trade routes shifted to avoid areas where human hunter ships operated. Entire star systems went silent when human vessels were detected nearby. What everyone now called the human hunt had become legend. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of her converted mining ship, the Iron Tracker. Her vessel once hauled asteroids between refineries. Now it carried advanced tracking systems and enough firepower to destroy a cruiser. Got something, Captain? Her sensor operator called out. Lieutenant Mark Chin had been a civilian technician before the war. Now he could track hyperspace signatures across 5 star systems. What do you have? Elena asked. Energy trail about 3 days old. Matches the pattern from that Vraxian heavy cruiser we've been tracking. The Dark Thunder. Elena's expression hardened. The Dark Thunder had been part of the main assault force at New Haven. Its weapons had destroyed Settlement 4, killing 800 people. Now its captain was running, jumping from system to system, trying to find somewhere humans couldn't follow. Plot the course, she ordered. Send coordinates to Admiral Ross. Mark it as confirmed sighting. The human fleet had transformed completely. Every ship in space, military or civilian, had become part of the hunt. Cargo haulers carried long-range sensors. Passenger liners had been converted into mobile command centers. Even small private ships joined as scouts and communication relays. But the most dramatic change was on human worlds themselves. Every colony had become a fortress. Children learned combat drills alongside regular schoolwork. Adults worked in weapons factories by day and trained for battle at night. The entire species had mobilized. Admiral Catherine Ross had established her command center on New Terra, humanity's second-largest colony. The planet's industrial capacity now focused entirely on building ships and weapons. The civilian government had voluntarily surrendered control to military authority. "Admiral, daily reports are ready," Commander James Park announced, entering her office. Catherine looked up from the holographic display. It showed ship positions across known space. Red dots marked confirmed Vraxian locations. Yellow dots showed possible sightings. Green dots were human hunting groups. The red dots were disappearing one by one. "How many today?" she asked. 9 confirmed captures. Captain Vasquez found that heavy cruiser. Captain Wilson's group cornered 4 fighters near the Centauri system. 2 more destroyers surrendered without fighting near the Vega sector. Catherine nodded. "Prisoners?" "Most of them, yes. They're too scared to fight anymore. They surrender as soon as they see our ships." The psychological warfare was working perfectly. Word had spread through the Vraxian fleet that humans didn't kill prisoners who cooperated. But those who resisted faced a different fate. Several Vraxian captains who had tried to fight were now drifting in space, their ships disabled, left with just enough life support to think about their choices. "What about Commander Thrace?" Catherine asked. "Still no confirmed location. Intelligence suggests he's hiding somewhere in the outer rim. But he's moving constantly. Never staying in one system more than 2 days." Catherine studied the tactical display. Of the original 200 Vraxian ships, only 43 remained unaccounted for. Most were damaged and running on minimal power to avoid detection. "We're also getting cooperation from unexpected sources," James continued. "The Altarian Republic has opened their space to our patrol ships. The Centauri Trade Federation is sharing intelligence. Even the Vegan Empire is quietly passing along sensor data." This was perhaps the most remarkable development. The human hunt had convinced most of the galaxy that helping the Vraxians was suicide. Even neutral species were actively cooperating with human forces. Meanwhile, thousands of light-years away, Commander Thrace sat in his darkened ready room. His flagship had been running on emergency power for 4 weeks, hiding in an abandoned system near the galactic rim. His once mighty fleet was scattered and broken. "Sir, transmission from Commander Vexel," his communications officer announced quietly. Thrace looked up wearily. Vexel commanded one of the last surviving battle groups. 12 ships hiding in the Void Nebula. The holographic image appeared, flickering with static. Vexel's normally proud bearing was gone. He looked like a hunted animal. "Admiral, we can't stay hidden much longer. Our supplies are nearly gone. Half my ships can barely maintain life support." "Have you found any safe harbor?" Thrace asked, though he already knew the answer. "No, sir. Every world we approach turns us away. The humans have convinced the entire galaxy that helping us means death." Thrace closed his eyes. 6 months ago he commanded the most feared fleet in Vraxian history. Now he begged for scraps of fuel from merchants who spat at his name. "Sir, some of my crew are talking about surrender," Vexel continued. "They think the humans might show mercy." "The humans don't show mercy," Thrace interrupted bitterly. "They show justice. And their justice means we all pay for New Haven." After ending the transmission, Thrace pulled up intelligence files on human military doctrine. What he found made his blood run cold. The humans weren't just hunting his fleet. They were preparing for something much larger. Every human world was now a fortress. Every human ship was armed for war. The entire species had transformed into a military machine. But for what purpose? They had already won. Dr. Rachel Park, a xenopsychology expert working with Admiral Ross, had spent months studying Vraxian behavior. Her reports painted a picture of complete psychological collapse. "They can't understand what we're doing," she explained during a briefing. "Their military doctrine is based on quick victories and negotiated settlements. They've never faced an enemy that refuses to accept anything except total victory." "What about their civilians?" Catherine asked. "That's the interesting part. Vraxian society is highly militaristic. Their civilians expected their fleet to return home victorious. Instead, they're watching their elite military hunted to extinction. Their government is under enormous pressure to end this. Can they negotiate? They've tried. But we give them the same answer every time. Total surrender of everyone involved in New Haven. No conditions. No negotiations." Catherine nodded. This wasn't a war that could end with treaties. It was a hunt that would continue until every person responsible was captured or dead. General Marcus Stone, coordinator of Earth's defenses, joined via holographic link. Admiral, we've received intelligence that Thrace might be planning one final attack. On Earth itself. Catherine felt a cold smile cross her face. Let him come. We've been preparing for this. And indeed they had. Earth's defenses had been strengthened beyond anything in human history. Orbital weapons platforms surrounded the planet like a deadly shell. Every ship that could be spared from the hunt had returned to human space. Captain Elena Vasquez received new orders that same day. Return to Earth immediately. The message was brief but clear. The prey is coming to us. Time to spring the trap. As human ships began their journey home, Commander Thrace made his decision. With only 28 ships remaining, he would make one desperate gamble. If he could threaten Earth, perhaps he could force negotiations. If not, at least he would die as a warrior rather than a hunted animal. He had no way of knowing the humans had been waiting for exactly this decision. The trap had been set months ago. The final battle was coming. Commander Thrace stared at Earth through the viewport of his battered flagship. The blue and white planet hung in space like a jewel, looking peaceful and vulnerable. His 28 remaining ships emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system, weapons charged and ready. Sir, scanning orbital defenses, his sensor officer reported nervously. I'm detecting platforms around the planet. Counting 12, no 25. Sir, the numbers keep rising. Thrace felt his confidence waver. Intelligence reports had said Earth's defenses were minimal. Most human ships were supposed to be scattered across the galaxy, still hunting his fleet. How many platforms total? He demanded. Over 300, sir. And they're all armed. Heavy weapons. This doesn't match our intelligence at all. Before Thrace could respond, his communications officer spoke up. Sir, receiving transmission from the planet. The main screen flickered. Admiral Catherine Ross appeared, sitting calmly in what looked like a massive command center. Her expression was neutral, but her eyes held the coldness of deep space. Commander Thrace, she said. We've been expecting you. Thrace tried to sound confident. Admiral Ross. I offer you terms. Surrender your homeworld and I will spare your civilian population. Catherine's expression didn't change. You seem to have misunderstood something, Commander. You're not here to attack us. You're here to be captured. Sir. The sensor officer's voice rose in panic. Ships decloaking all around us. Hundreds of them. The space around Earth suddenly filled with human warships. They materialized from behind asteroids. They emerged from the moon's shadow. They dropped stealth fields to reveal the largest fleet concentration in human history. Captain Elena Vasquez commanded a squadron of 60 converted mining ships, all armed with cutting-edge weapons. Commander James Park led the heavy cruisers recalled from the hunt. Captain David Martinez brought his boarding specialist teams. Every human ship that could fly and fight was here, waiting. You walked into our trap, Admiral Ross continued calmly. For 6 months, we've been herding you toward this moment. Every time we let one of your ships escape, every time we left you a way out, we were pushing you here. Thrace looked around desperately. His 28 damaged ships were surrounded by over 400 human vessels. Escape was impossible. Defense was futile. I demand to negotiate, he shouted, his voice cracking. The time for negotiation was before you attacked New Haven, Catherine replied coldly. You had a choice then. You chose to kill our people. You chose to murder our children. Now you live with the consequences. She leaned forward slightly. You wanted to make an example of humanity. To show the galaxy what happens to those who resist your empire. Instead, you've become the example. The entire galaxy is watching right now, Commander. They're watching what happens when you make humans your enemy. The battle lasted less than 1 hour. The Vraxian ships were too damaged, too outnumbered, too demoralized to offer real resistance. Human weapons fire was precise, surgical. Each alien ship was disabled with minimal casualties. Their crews were given one chance to surrender. Most took it immediately. Thrace's flagship was the last to fall. Human boarding parties swarmed through its corridors, meeting almost no resistance from his defeated crew. The commander himself was found in his ready room, staring at a picture of his homeworld. He was brought before Admiral Ross in person. His hands were bound. His uniform was torn. Burns covered half his face from the battle. His proud bearing had completely vanished. Why? He asked as he stood before her. We offered surrender. We offered to pay reparations. Why wouldn't you let us go? Catherine stood and walked to the large observation window overlooking Earth. The planet turned slowly below, blue oceans and white clouds hiding billions of people who lived there. "Do you see that world, Commander?" she asked quietly. "Yes. Every person on that planet knows the names of those who died at New Haven. Emma Rodriguez, age 9. Michael Chin, age 65. Sarah Thompson, age 32. We remember all of them." She turned to face him. "You didn't just attack a colony. You didn't just capture territory. You killed our families. You made it personal." "But we are soldiers," Thrace protested weakly. "We were following orders. This is how war has always been conducted." "Not with humans," Catherine replied. "When you attack our people, you don't just fight our military. You fight every human in the galaxy. Every parent who imagines their child being hurt. Every person who understands that today it was New Haven, but tomorrow it could be their home." She walked closer to him. "That's why we never let you go. That's why we hunted you across hundreds of star systems. That's why your empire is finished. Because you made the mistake of thinking humans are like other species. We're not." Thrace stared at her, finally understanding. "What happens to us now? You'll stand trial for war crimes. Every victim will be named. Every crime will be documented. Those who cooperate will receive fair treatment. Those who don't." She shrugged. "Justice takes many forms." The trials began 2 weeks later. Every surviving member of the Vraxian fleet was brought before human courts. Their crimes were read aloud. The names and faces of their victims were displayed for all to see. The proceedings were broadcast across the entire galaxy. Most Vraxians pleaded guilty and accepted prison sentences. A few tried to claim they were just following orders. They were reminded that following illegal orders was also a crime under galactic law. Commander Thrace was the last to be tried. He stood before the judges, no longer the proud warrior who had dismissed the Keeper's warning. He was broken, defeated, a symbol of what happened to those who underestimated humanity. "Do you have anything to say before sentencing?" the chief judge asked. Thrace looked up at the gallery filled with human faces, young and old, military and civilian, all watching him with cold justice in their eyes. "I should have listened to the warning," he whispered. "The Keeper tried to tell me. Humans are not like other species. I understand that now. Too late." The judge nodded slowly. "Life imprisonment. No possibility of parole. You will spend the rest of your days remembering the faces of those you killed." As Thrace was led away, Admiral Ross watched from the observation deck. Commander James Park stood beside her. "It's over," he said quietly. "No," Catherine replied. "It's just beginning. The galaxy has learned a lesson today. And we need to make sure they never forget it." 1 year after the attack on New Haven, the galaxy was a different place. The Vraxian Empire had collapsed completely. Their government signed peace treaties with every human world, agreeing to pay reparations for 3 generations. They also agreed to something unprecedented in galactic history. They would never again engage in aggressive warfare against any species. The scattered remnants of the Vraxian military were disbanded. Their warships were decommissioned or sold to pay damages. Their soldiers returned home in shame, marked forever as the generation that made humanity their enemy. But the changes went far beyond one empire's fall. Colonel Marcus Chin stood in the rebuilt New Haven Colony Square. The memorial wall displayed the names of all who had died, carved in black stone that would last forever. Families came daily to remember their lost loved ones. Fresh flowers always lay at the base of the wall. A group of young alien diplomats visited the colony as part of a cultural exchange program. They represented 12 different species. All had heard stories about the human response to the attack, but wanted to understand it better. "Is it true that humans never forgive?" asked a young Altarian diplomat, her blue skin reflecting the afternoon sun. Marcus looked at the memorial wall, reading the familiar names. Emma Rodriguez, who wanted to be a doctor. Michael Chen, the history teacher. Sarah Thompson, who never got to meet her baby. "We forgive," he said finally. "But we never forget. And we never let anyone hurt our people without facing justice." A Centauri diplomat raised his hand timidly. "But the hunt lasted almost a year. Your entire civilization was mobilized. Wouldn't it have been easier to just accept their surrender after the first battle?" Marcus turned to face the group of young aliens. His expression was patient but firm. "You don't understand. This wasn't about what was easy. It was about what was right." He pointed to the memorial wall. "Every name on that wall represents someone's child, parent, friend, or neighbor. They died because Commander Thrace thought humans were weak. He thought we would calculate the odds and decide revenge wasn't worth the cost. Marcus paused, letting his words sink in. He was wrong. We don't think like that. When you hurt our people, the cost doesn't matter. The time doesn't matter. The distance doesn't matter. We will find you and we will make sure justice is served. The young diplomats exchanged nervous glances. They were beginning to understand why the human response had shocked the galaxy. What if it happens again? Asked a vegan diplomat quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. Marcus's smile held no warmth. Then whoever does it will learn the same lesson Commander Thrace learned. He looked up at the stars visible in the clear sky. Humans are peaceful. Humans are reasonable. Humans prefer to solve problems with words rather than weapons. We value life. We celebrate diversity. We seek friendship with other species. His expression hardened. But humans never, ever let anyone hurt their families and walk away. That's not a threat. That's a promise. Across the galaxy, the message had been received loud and clear. The Keeper Archive updated their species database, adding extensive new warnings about humanity. Elder Solon himself recorded a message that was stored in their deepest vaults, meant to be preserved for thousands of years. Let the fate of the Vraxians serve as a lesson to all civilizations, his ancient voice echoed in the recording. Humans are a peaceful species when left alone. They trade fairly. They negotiate honestly. They honor their agreements. They offer friendship freely. The hologram of the old keeper paused, his shadowed face grave. But when you threaten their families, when you hurt their children, when you make war upon their homes, they become something else entirely. They become implacable. They become relentless. They become justice itself, hunting across the stars until every wrong is made right. On the Altarian Republic homeworld, their military academy added a new required course, Understanding Human Response Doctrine. The first lesson was always the same: never attack human civilians. The Centauri Trade Federation established new protocols. Any ship that showed aggression toward human vessels was immediately expelled from their space. The economic consequences of making humanity your enemy were too severe to risk. Even the warrior species of the galaxy took notice. The Krogan clans, who respected strength above all else, sent ambassadors to Earth. They offered alliances and mutual defense pacts. They recognized humans as apex predators who had earned their respect. Admiral Catherine Ross stood on the observation deck of the newly completed Unity Station, humanity's first major military starbase. It orbited New Terra, a symbol of human strength and determination. Ships came and went constantly, carrying trade goods and diplomats from dozens of worlds. Commander James Park joined her at the window. "The Council wants to offer you a seat," he said. "The Galactic Council. They're inviting humanity to join as a full member." Catherine smiled slightly. "What changed their mind?" "They're afraid of us," James replied honestly. "But they also respect us. They've seen what we can do. They'd rather have us at the table than outside it." "Accept the invitation," Catherine decided. "But make sure they understand the conditions. We join as equals, not subordinates. And we keep our military strength. All of it. They won't like that. They don't have to like it. They just have to accept it." She turned from the window. The galaxy has learned that humans can't be pushed around. Now they need to learn we can also be trusted partners. But only if we're treated with respect. On Earth, in the Museum of Human History, a new wing had been opened. The New Haven Memorial Hall. Visitors walked through in hushed silence, reading the stories of those who had died. Interactive displays showed the battle, the hunt, and the trials. The final exhibit was a simple room with a single message displayed on all walls in every known language. "When you attack one human, you attack all humans. When you hurt our families, you face all of humanity. This is not a threat. This is who we are. This is what we will always be. Remember New Haven. Remember the hunt. Remember that humans never let injustice go unanswered." Young human children took field trips to the memorial. They learned about Emma Rodriguez and her dream of being a doctor. They heard about Michael Chen and his dedication to teaching. They saw Sarah Thompson's sonogram photo, the baby who never got to be born. And they learned the lesson their parents had proven to the galaxy: humanity stands together. Always. In a quiet sector of space, the Vraxian homeworld struggled to rebuild. Their economy was shattered. Their military was gone. Their pride was broken. But they were alive. The humans had shown mercy to those who surrendered and cooperated. Justice, but also mercy. Former Commander Thrace sat in his prison cell on a human colony world. Every day he saw the memorial wall outside his window. Every day he read the names of those who had died because of his orders. The humans could have executed him. Instead, they gave him a lifetime to remember what he had done. It was, he realized, a far worse punishment. The galaxy would never forget what happened when the Vraxians attacked Nu.